There's a brutal truth in modern dating that most men refuse to face. Your presence has no value if your absence has no consequence. Look around. Right now, two types of men exist. The first type enters a woman's life like background noise, always there, predictable, comfortable. You text him, he replies in seconds. You cancel plans, he says no problem. You pull away, he tries twice as hard. He's the nice guy who finishes last because, psychologically speaking, he's become furniture useful, but completely taken for granted. Then there's the second type. This man creates what psychologists call psychological scarcity. When he's not around, the emotional space shifts. The woman starts wondering, where is he? What is he thinking? Why is he quiet? His absence has weight. And that is precisely the difference between being forgotten and being pursued. Today, we're not talking about becoming the villain. We're talking about becoming a man of gravity. One whom women fear losing. Not because he plays games, but because he lives by standards he himself respects. Let's run a thought experiment. Imagine you're in a relationship. You notice she starts replying to texts slower. It used to be minutes, now it's hours. Her energy changes. She asks about you less, cares less about how your day was. What does the first man do? He texts more. You okay? Something wrong? He tries to schedule more dates. He becomes nicer, more understanding. He thinks by increasing his presence and attention, he'll fill the gap. But here's the problem. The human brain doesn't work that way. In behavioral psychology, when you reward withdrawal with increased attention, you're unintentionally teaching the other person. This behavior gets rewarded. The second man reacts completely differently. He doesn't increase attention, he decreases it. He doesn't ask what's wrong. He notices the shift, and he adjusts his behavior accordingly. He spends that time on his work, his friends, his hobbies. He doesn't punish, doesn't get angry. He simply invests his energy where it has a higher return. And here's the magic. When you stop chasing a retreating energy source, one of two things happens. Either they realize the loss and come back with higher investment, or they continue to leave, and in that case, you've just saved yourself months of unnecessary pain. Most men make a core mistake. They confuse patience with passivity. We're taught that true love is patient. And that's right, in a healthy relationship where both parties are trying. But there's a very thin line between being patient with someone going through a hard time and passively enduring poor treatment. Think about this. If a business partner stops contributing to the company, you wouldn't say, "I'll be patient and hope he changes." You'd have a serious conversation. If nothing changes, you'd terminate the partnership. But in love, we act like bad investors. We keep pumping emotional currency into a losing project just because we've invested so much time. Economists call this sunk cost fallacy. You think, I've spent 2 years with her. I can't leave now, but those 2 years are gone. They're not coming back. The only question is, do you want your next 2 years to look the same? Here's one of the biggest paradoxes of attraction. The man willing to walk away is often the one who doesn't have to. Let's break this down. When a man fears losing someone, he'll do anything to keep them. He compromises standards. He accepts treatment he doesn't deserve. He becomes predictable, always there, always available, always forgiving. And what happens? Attraction dies. Why? Because the human brain is wired to only value what's at risk of being lost. If I know you'll always be there no matter what I do, I stop emotionally investing in you. You've become a constant. And in the emotional equation, constants get canceled out. Now look at the man willing to walk away, not because he doesn't care, but because he respects himself enough to know, I deserve basic respect. And if I'm not getting it here, I'll find it elsewhere. This attitude, the attitude of non-negotiable self-respect, creates a powerful psychological effect. It makes others wonder, am I worthy enough for him to stay? Not, is he worthy enough for me to keep? And that is the most fundamental power shift. In the modern dating world, especially in America with texting culture and dating apps, there's a weapon few men use correctly: withdrawal of attention. This isn't the silent treatment to punish. This is a well-studied psychological principle. Consider this scenario. You and a woman are talking. Initially, she replies fast, enthusiastically. Then, the pace slows. Texts get shorter. Response times get longer. What do most men do? They increase frequency. Text more. Call more. Try to keep the conversation alive. This is the mistake. You're pumping oxygen into a dying flame. And when you do that, you're telling her subconscious, I need your attention more than you need mine. The right approach. When you sense diminishing investment, you match and mirror that investment level. If she takes 4 hours to reply, so do you. If she sends one-word texts, you keep it brief too. Why does this work? Because it establishes balance. It says, I respect your time and energy, and I expect you to respect mine. It removes the pursuer-pursued dynamic, and in many cases it makes the other person wonder, what's going on? Why is he suddenly so busy? People often misunderstand abundance mindset. They think it's talking to 5 women at once, having many Tinder matches, having options. But that's not true abundance. That's just the behavior of abundance. True abundance mindset is a psychological state. It's the belief that you'll be fine with or without them. Think about the most attractive men you know. They don't chase women. They don't check their phones every 5 minutes. They don't stake their entire happiness on whether one specific person texts back. Why? Because they have a life. They have careers they're passionate about. They have hobbies that get them out of bed on weekends. They have friends they genuinely enjoy spending time with. They have goals bigger than themselves. And when you have a life like that, you don't need a woman. You want them. And that's the fundamental difference. The man who needs will compromise. He'll accept less than he deserves. He'll stay in situations he should leave. The man who wants can walk away at any time. And that very freedom, the freedom to leave, is what makes others want him to stay. Another misconception. Boundaries are about controlling others. No, boundaries are about controlling yourself. Consider these situations. She cancels last minute for the 3rd time. A boundary isn't saying, you can't do that again. A boundary is your action. No problem, but I won't be planning a 4th date. She says something insulting. A boundary isn't yelling, how dare you say that? A boundary is saying calmly, I don't appreciate being spoken to that way. If it continues, I'll leave. She's always 30 minutes late. A boundary isn't angrily waiting. A boundary is, after 15 minutes, you text, seems like today isn't a good fit. Let's reconnect another time. And you leave. The most effective boundaries are never declared. They're demonstrated. And when you're consistent in your actions, you don't need to explain. People learn the rules of engagement through consequences. You won't wake up tomorrow and suddenly be that man. This change is a process. It's built from hundreds of small decisions. Today, it's not sending a second text when she doesn't reply to the first. Tomorrow, it's declining a lukewarm date because you have better plans with friends. Next week, it's speaking up when someone says something you find disrespectful. Each small choice is a brick. And slowly, you build a new person, someone you respect, when you look in the mirror. And here's the secret. When you start respecting yourself, the world adjusts to match that level of respect. Women will start treating you differently, friends will start seeing you differently, and most importantly, you'll start seeing yourself differently. So we've covered it all, from the two types of energy, the confusion between patience and passivity, the paradox of walking away, to abundance mindset and the power of boundaries. Now, I want you to forget it all. Keep just one question that will determine whether you're the man fought over or the man replaced. That question isn't, how do I get her to choose me? That question is, if she does not choose me, what will I do? Take a second to answer honestly. If your answer is, I'll try harder, I'll become better, I'll prove to her I'm worthy, then you're in the scarcity spiral. But if your answer is, I'll keep living my amazing life, I'll keep building my career, I'll keep becoming the best version of myself, and I'll leave the door open for whoever recognizes that value, then congratulations. You just understood the secret. You don't need to be the one that woman chooses. You need to be the one where even if she doesn't choose you, she knows she missed out on something special. And that, gentlemen, is the difference between being replaced and being fought over. The choice is yours, starting with your next small decision.